Welcome to Fintech Diary. Every week, we speak to an industry expert who's part of the fintech revolution. In the world of fintechs, which is based on constant evolution and innovation, we question change makers. How do they plan ahead and read the future developments? The focus of the Fintech Diary is to get the breadth and depth of every segment related to fintech in every chapter. My name is Amol Dethe, and my guest for this chapter is Raj N, founder and chairman of Zaggle. Raj, glad to have you.
Thank you so much, Amol. Welcome and a big hello from Zaggle's side.
Sure. So glad to have you, Raj, as I said. And to begin with, in the beginning, I will try to get some sense in terms of data. How has been Zaggle operating? What I understand is Zaggle is a SaaS-based fintech company operating in expense, spend management, card issuance, and many other criteria. And you're a profitable company as well. That's what I learned from your website
Yes.
and the report. So tell me something to begin with about how much is your profit every per annum, and how many people do you work with? How many businesses do you deal with? What are your product offerings? If you could give us some highlights about it to begin with, Raj.
Sure. So I'll first start with the word Zaggle. Okay, so a lot of people ask me, what is Zaggle, and I always say, don't haggle, just Zaggle. That's how the business has started. So this year, we have phenomenal growth. I think we'll grow by about 60% on our top line revenue, and about 60 to 65%, growth in profit. Last year, as of this is just the year ended yesterday. Numbers are yet to come back, but I think the growth rate is going to be in and around that percentage, give or take 5% here or there. But last year we did about 224 crores, in net revenue, and roughly about 25 crores in profit. This year, as I told you, roughly that percentage is how we'll keep it. In terms of business, we are a B2B fintech SaaS business. We are at the cross section of fintech and SaaS, and the ability to serve about 2000 plus customers today. Overall, we have served about 4,500 customers in our journey. But if you look at our current, we would have about 2,000 odd customers with us.
Okay, thanks, Raj, for that note. I think you're also trying to rebrand yourself and trying to call yourself a global digital bank. What does that mean? If correct me if I'm wrong, currently you're not holding any legal or maybe any license as such, maybe a NBFC or some bank. Obviously, it's not there, but any other license as such. So when you
Sure.
say global digital bank, what exactly do you want to do going ahead, Raj?
Yeah, very good question, Amol. And if you really look at it, what we think is that banking is at a cross section. Okay, either it has to evolve from here or it has to die. There are no two ways about it. 5 years back, 6 years back, or maybe 7 years back, fintech was a word which banks just said, okay, good, it is good to have. They will serve some customers, and there is where the story ended. Slowly, they started understanding the power of fintech, the ability to present a better, bigger customer experience, to the user is what they understood that fintechs are very good at. Fintechs went ahead and they wanted a customer base. They wanted to interact with bank because of the regulation. Okay, banks also realized that let's start with fintechs. Today, what has happened is, if you look at the scenarios, fintechs, earlier banks were investing in fintechs. Now today the scenario is reversed, that a lot of fintechs are investing in banks. And if you really look at it, a couple of scenarios which have emerged where fintechs have bought a bank out. Okay, and they take the case of PMC Bank, where it has been bought over by Bharat Pay and Centrum combination, right? So this is the change which you are seeing. And why is this change happening? Because today the consumer is not that old dodgy consumer who would go to the same bank and wait. Okay, today the consumer is that he wants thing on the click. Every entire world has moved to mobile. Okay, and if you see India, the mobile revolution is very, very high. People understand that these are the days where transaction should not take more than few seconds. Okay, and banks are very difficult for them to operate in this scenario because of their legacy systems. So while the word banking has improved, okay, what has not improved is banking. Okay, so this is how what we see, and for us, it is a great opportunity, which we are, seeing in front of us, to move forward. Today, we deal with enterprises, roughly about 2,000 plus enterprises, where we do a lot of functions which are very similar to bank. Okay, and that's what our focus is. That in the next coming 5 years, and I think RBI also, would relax these rules about, digital banking, and I think we would be at the forefront, to apply for a global digital bank license.
Okay, so that's your ultimate goal, that you will be able to apply for a global digital bank license whenever you get an opportunity.
Yes.
Okay, sure. So let's hope, RBI calls for those invitations very soon. You apply that and you also get that, and maybe we'll have another interview getting some another insights there talking about
Yes.
it. But
Yeah.
currently, if you look at that situation, we don't know when RBI is going to do that. And currently, the fintech and banks, I do understand it started as a competition and now collaboration is a model. But
Mm.
don't you think that the fintech has its own limitations, and the Bharat Pay, or the PMC example is maybe a very rare or maybe one-sided example. On the other side, most of the fintechs are absolutely relied on the banks, right? They are working as a lead generator. They're providing some service to the banks, and maybe every, I mean, the whole revenue and the profit model is based on what banks offer to them. So, in this particular scenario, what could be the sustainable business model for fintechs, Raj?
Sure. See, one thing what I very strongly feel, Amol, is that the ability of these fintechs to go and fetch business for themselves and use bank as an intermediary is the best business, right? Like, if you look at today, the companies or the fintechs who are totally dependent on banks, okay, to source customers, are like businesses which will, I don't know how scalable would they be, right? But for businesses which have, which are like, built on SaaS, built on enterprise, built on, fintech, banks will act as enablers. So these businesses which are there, and in fintech, to be very honest, sometimes we are called that, why are you profitable? So fintechs come, and a lot of other fintechs also come and ask us, where is the profitability? Why are you profitable? Why is your CAC so low? The beauty is that, lot of us, like, so, I'm not the only one who is profitable. There could be, two, three, four, five, seven others, but you can count on fingers, the models which are profitable. And our model is profitable because for every user whom I onboard, I charge a fee. Okay, every transaction which happens, but there is a interchange, which happens, and we make money out of it. That is why we are able to, become profitable. The models where you spend to acquire a B2C consumer, who then goes off to the, next one immediately the moment they offer you a cashback or incentive, is a model which is flawed, in my opinion. That model is good only to a point, and beyond that it wouldn't work.
Okay, so again, let me repeat what you said. So, according to you, the fintechs, those who are operating in specifically B2C model, that business model, according to you, is flawed. And in the B2B model, there is still some scope for fintechs to maybe generate revenue or become profitable or become sustainable, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And it is going to take a lot of time for these companies which are in the B2C segment and using banks as a conduit. Okay, it is going to take them a lot of time before they turn profitable. That
Hmm,
I'm very, very clear, I'm very sure about.
right. Uh, Noted your points. Let me come back to you, Raj, in terms
Sure.
of your businesses. So, I think there are two, three major areas where you have been working on in the SaaS space, and like you mentioned, you have more than 2,000, customers. But are these customers? I think if I'm not wrong, you have built them over the years, right? When you started from
Yes.
2011, right?
Yeah.
So, are you adding? How many customers are you adding on a monthly or a yearly basis? And how many are you managed to? How many customers do you manage to retain? Every year or so.
Sure. So I would say, see, till about 2018, we had one particular journey of Zaggle, which was more on, prepaid cards. Post 2018, we have been a tech first company. We, introduced our first SaaS solution, in late 2018, early 2019, our retention rate is, roughly about 99% plus. We rarely lose a client, and if we lose, it is possibly, because of two reasons. One is that, somebody has a global mandate to use a particular software. Okay. And, we compete with them, and, but, it's a global mandate. That is one. The second is pricing. So let's say, for example, somebody, because for us, every deal has to be ROI positive, and every deal has to be, EBITDA accretive for us. Okay. Because, we are a largely bootstrapped company. So it is very important to us that, we make money on every transaction and every client. So retention wise, we are there at about 99% retention. Second is in terms of every year we add clients. And if you look at our history of adding clients, we have been like very focused on, and COVID was one of the, how do you call, the digitization or the entire theme of SaaS plus, fintech got a big kick in three events. Okay. And these three, you can say black swan events, or large events were: one was demonetization, second was, GST, and third was COVID. Okay. Because of these three, what we saw was corporations who would take roughly about 6 months to decide whether to go digital or no, went digital in less than 20 days. So we had and this is something which we tell to everybody, that, there was a client, who signed the contract at 3:30, went live at 4:30. So the, days have got compressed into hours. Hours will get compressed into minutes. And I hope to see that day when, minutes get compressed into seconds.
So this is what is going to matter a lot, right? Raj, in the Fintech business, the customer, the client wants to go live as early as possible, because real time is what everyone wants to adopt
Correct.
in their business model, right?
Correct. Correct. See, it is a, the world is of instant gratification. Okay. And what happened is, like, a B2B company today has to act as if it's a B2C company, right? While keeping the pricing, while keeping everything else, but customer, whether the enterprise customer or whether it is a consumer, both of them are becoming, extremely demanding. Okay. And there is where, my first point, that banking is failing. Why is banking failing? Tell me, how many times have you gone to the bank in last 3 months? Why is there a need for physical infrastructure? Why is there a need for, so if you really look at it, a lot of companies, a lot of banks say that we are opening so many branches. I say, invest the same kind of money in making your digital infrastructure better, right? And you will have many more clients who will automatically sign up for you. So question is for, so this is like again a story which will always move between four corners. One corner is bank, the other is fintech, the third is enterprise, which is B2B, and then you have B2C, who is a consumer. So the way you move is that from a B2B to C. So from a B2B to C, you do your CAC is much lower, much lower, and that is why if you today look at it, businesses which are able to scale, okay, and scale profitably, are being valued very differently world over.
Mm. Meaningful thoughts, Raj. Here, if you remember, the last week the deal took place between Axis and City, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to give
Yeah.
you a different anecdote here. I was really surprised. I mean, we all know that, but when you actually see the deal happening and when you look at the financial numbers very strongly,
Uh-huh.
Axis has more than 4,000 branches, right?
Yeah.
They're going to have 3,600 employees of City, and City has not more than 50 branches in India.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Imagine, and that bank is operating in India since almost many decades, right? And they have a huge number of
City,
customers.
absolutely. City is like Hindustan liver of India in FMCG, because
Yeah.
everybody you see, anybody who has worked in a bank has or had some connection with City.
So what I learned, while looking at this data is, now when we talk about branchless or branch ki zarurat nahi hai, City
Uh-huh.
has somehow already been doing it as a branchless banking, because 50
Correct.
branches
Correct.
in India is almost
Correct.
nothing. Not even
Correct.
50. The actual number is maybe 35, 36. Okay,
Right.
so that's what I thought I will share. But let me
Sure.
come back to your business and maybe learn more for our audiences who are watching this show. And so you're into cards business, you're into expense or spend management, right? And you're also into tax or maybe a savings business. So which business is actually generating more revenue or maybe money or profit for you, and what is your outlook for each of this business?
So, ours is a very simple model. Okay. One is software, the other is a payment instrument. We match and mix. Okay. So, a corporate can take just the software, corporate can take just the cards, corporate can take cards plus software. Okay. It's maybe 85 to 90% of our clients take both the software, basically to measure the spends, to see, how a particular scheme is working, how like an employee is spending, and they use the instrument for to have the ability, for the employee or the channel partner to use it, right? So for us, our simple model is wherever you want, where, we can deploy it across schools, colleges, enterprises, homes, wherever. Software plus card is what our theme is, right? Our overall focus, if you look at it, we are a B2B SaaS fintech enterprise business. Okay. uh, Controlling, helping efficiently, productive spends. How to do productive spends is how, we really look at the market, right? Today, you see this, how big is the TAM of spend management? The TAM of spend management is close to about 1.5 to 1.6 trillion dollars. Okay. That is the total addressable market. Okay. For us, the focus is to look at all the entire spend management as a category and utilize that spend management as a category to be able to put our software plus payment instrument theory more and more.
And how do you want to take it forward? I mean, every fintech, those who are operating in payment space, either shifted to lending or added lending as a layer to their business because they realize that, like you said, the B2C fintech payments cannot be profitable. They cannot make profit because people do not want to pay for the transactions which they're making. And you're rightly into the B2B business. So you tell me, how are you heading towards the credit or the lending side?
Sure. So, we just launched our, credit card along with, IndusInd. And our philosophy is very simple. When we look at the accounts payable market, we look at all, whether you take SMBs, whether you take mid-market, you take enterprises. Okay. Everywhere, vendor processing to vendor payments is a big challenge. Okay. And why is the challenge? You today go to an enterprise, you ask, I am coming there for, vendor registration. They'll say, sorry, vendor registration is not possible. Why is it not possible? Because it goes through multiple layers of approval, and post that approval also, more or less, it will take about 40-45 days. And 60% of the cases, they reject you because they will ask for your balance sheet. They will ask you for multiple things. And then later on, they will realize that, this company may not be that great. That's why you see in large companies, it is a big problem. इनसे आप कल आइए, उसके एक हफ्ते बाद आइए, मुझे ये डॉक्यूमेंट दीजिए, मुझे बैलेंस शीट दीजिए, मुझे ऐसे दीजिए. And the biggest problem for a lot of these startup companies is they don't have all of this, right? So that, doesn't mean that they are bad. So what we are doing is we are saying, you keep your ERP, whether it is SAP or XYZ, you please have that. We will give you a system which will be able to take, few crore, vendors if required, and through a very simplified system, because, we will pull APIs. Okay. Pulling APIs will get you your, PAN, we will get you, your balance sheets, will get you your, XYZ resolutions, board resolution, whatever you require. Everything will be documented in a simple system. All you have to do is press yes, and a vendor code is generated, which goes and sits into your SAP system or ERP system or Tally for that matter, or any system you may be using, or a NetSuite, anywhere, it will just go and sit there, right? Plus, what we are telling today corporates, for you to process payment takes time. We understand. I am here giving you a card. Okay. Enable your employees to make the payments which they think for which they have issued the purchase order. Now the card is there, just swipe the card, make the payment. You are not at risk because everything is documented for what you are making the payment, right? Only thing is for the vendor, instead of going through the process, waiting for the check, waiting for, a batch file to run, All this is simple swipe. Only thing you require is an acceptance mechanism and payment is done. So think about it, Amol, today, SMB, okay, MSMEs. Okay, there are 67 million MSMEs. For them, who are their customer? Their major customers are these big corporates. Okay. Now, when you go and supply, okay, how many days do you typically take to get the payment? The Act says 45 days MSME should be paid, right? Now, for a MSME whose working capital is very limited, his survival depends on how many times he is able to rotate the money, within a year. Okay. So what we are telling corporates is, doesn't matter, you charge them 1%, 1.5%, as you call it, cash discount. You say that I'll make the payment now, I'll charge 1%. MSME, for MSME, they don't care about that 1%, 1.5%. What they care about is that the payment is hitting them immediately or no, right? So we are providing a beautiful experience of software along with the card where they can make the payment seamless.
There's one more very interesting question I have, Raj. We partly discussed that earlier, but let me be very specific.
Yeah.
The offerings that you have and the kind of solutions that the fintech companies are coming with is kind of very common now, using data analytics, offering some solutions absolutely digital and everything, reducing the time frame. So what I mean by this is the competition is really tough in the fintech space, right? And every other fintech, kind of offering the same thing. Maybe B2C fintechs are large in numbers compared to B2B, but somewhere, the offerings are almost similar and maybe everybody is going everywhere. What makes you confident at Zaggle that perhaps you will achieve the goal that you desired, or you will be really successful? Because there are also reports that out of, maybe thousands of meetings that we have today, not everyone will be successful,
Of
right?
course, of
What do
course.
you think will make you successful, or what makes you confident?
Sure. So, I'll just give you a very interesting example. Okay. Think of, any large FMCG company. Okay. Let's say in paints, there is a large FMCG company out of paints. Okay. Now, they run channel incentives. Okay. They run employee reward and recognition programs. They run tax savings and reimbursement, tax reimbursements. Okay. Or reimbursements. They also run travel and, entertainment reimbursements, which is the T&E, expense management. They also make a lot of payments to their vendors. Okay. Today, the scenario is, for channel incentive, they use party X. Okay. For, somebody else, for employee, they use party Y. Okay. Vendor Y. For, for spend management, they use, for accounts payable, they use another, software. For, tax benefits, they use another, company. There are like 4 or 5 different companies which are there. If I am an employee of of this paint company, how many apps will I keep? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many cards will I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. It will become impossible for me, to have more than 1 or 2 cards. Come Zaggle. Zaggle provides you all your reward recognition, channel incentives and rewards is provided. All reimbursements are provided. All, accounts payable is provided. Everything on a single software and a single system. How we went, we first attacked the, chief marketing officer of a company, chief sales officer of a company. From there, we got introduced to the CHRO, okay, the HR department. From HR department, we got introduced to the finance department. From finance department, now we have got procurement department. So 4 major departments of any organization we are already covering on a single card and a single platform. So I'll tell you, my biggest thing is the entry barrier which we do, and that's why we have a 99% plus retention rate, is that once we have gotten, unless and until we goof up, corporate is not going to change us, because for them it is very, very difficult to recard everybody, introduce new cards, introduce, new softwares. It's very difficult, and we are integrated into majority of, through HRMS or through ERP. We are already integrated with a lot of companies. So that, I think, is a big entry barrier for anyone.
Sure. I think So you got the secret sauce for yourself. You know that once corporate is in, perhaps he will not go because he also doesn't want to repeat the whole process with,
Correct.
you know, some
Absolutely.
other.
And for them, I am getting everything together in a box. He's saying, okay, now now we have companies, very, very large companies telling us that, okay, can you help us in receivables as well? So, once you do receivables, once you do payable, once you do payroll, once you do like tax reimbursement, then what else is left? And once you do those small pieces also, you will become a full-fledged bank.
Right, right.
भाई बैंक क्या करता है? कासा मतलब लाइक करंट अकाउंट, सेविंग्स अकाउंट, loans, right? A variety of loans. Other than that, what does it do? It does trade finance, it does bank guarantees, etc. इसके अलावा तो कुछ नहीं करता है बैंक. And bank का major source is CASA. So, and if we are able to give cards in which money is lying, we are actually a savings bank account.
Sure. So, two quick questions now, Raj. What next for Indian fintechs according to you? Because the first theory was to get into the payments, which they did. Now credits, which they have many. The big story was to get listed, which many of the fintechs, I mean, at least two fintechs got listed. Let's not talk about the market value or the numbers, but at least one growth story is that they got listed in the market, right? Which is a big
Yes.
thing. So, what do you think is the next step for the Indian fintechs?
So, the next thing is add fin, okay, in front of everything. Okay. I'll give you one simple example. Let's say Amol is, working for this particular company, okay, paper. And I come to Amol and I say, Amol, I will buy out your salary. आपको लेट्स से 10 लाख रुपए महीना मिलता है, मैं आपको 5% इन अपफ्रंट दे देता हूं, and I will start paying you 10,50,000 rupees per month. Okay. But what I'll do is I will take all your whatever spends you do, you have to do through me. Okay. Now, what are you thinking? You're thinking, this is not a very bad idea. I'm getting this much extra percentage from them. Okay. In any case, I am paying EMIs, which they are saying they will also pay EMIs. You will say, okay, I am getting some additional money. Mera hike hona tha, hike ke badle, this is an indirect kind of hike or appraisal which has happened. So today, the next movement of, fintech is going to be within you. Okay. So Fin is going to come and sit inside you and will say, everything else we will take care of you. Okay. You just go and focus on your work and come back. You want to spend money, you want to buy a car, you want to pay EMIs, you want to buy a house, you want to do whatever you want to do. Please go ahead and do it. Rest we'll take care. If your salary is okay, we will manage it. Otherwise, we, depending on your track record, will get you more loans. You don't have to look anywhere. You don't have to see anywhere. Just open, this particular app and everything would be there. Now, if I were to ask you, please tell me how many bank accounts you have, you will at least say 2, maybe 3, and maybe, 4. If I ask you how many credit cards you have, you may say, I may have maybe, 2, 3, 4 credit cards. They will have different limits. So, what is happening is, there is something called distributed lending. Okay. Distributed lending means हर एक lender देखता है that I'll underwrite Amol, okay, and then each one of them, depending on their risk appetite, underwrites. I am saying we will do the reverse. We will do aggregate lending. That means we look at Amol and we say Amol ko, itna paisa is always available at any given point of time for whatever. Right. So this is the change which I very sincerely think will come in over a period of time, and not more than maybe 3-4 years is what I think, and everything would be taken care of from your side. You have to just look at this is my likes. I like investing in stock market. This is the kind of return I like. This is kind of risk profile I need. Cut, done. I want to invest in mutual funds. Cut. I want to invest in a property. Cut. I want to invest in a car. All of these things, everything at a single click.
No, I got your point, Raj, and I think I this is a very motivating story which I learned from many CIOs, CTOs, and glad to hear it from you as well. But there is a small challenge that I see with this, and
Uh-huh.
a lot of fintechs have also been built on the same. So this model is going to be built on the data, right? Absolutely
Yeah.
data, right?
Yes.
Like when you said that you want to go for a spend and look at the what you want to do is you want to collect the data, right?
Yeah.
But the data rules are still not formed or framed very. I mean framed, but it's not still out, and don't know when it will be what you can say legalized in the country. Do you see that as a big hurdle? Because currently a lot of fintechs or startups using my data or anyone's data without your my consent or without you and my approval, right? So will that become a hurdle, or how will fintechs deal with it going ahead?
See, today I'll give you, don't mind, what I say. Data
Sure.
is equivalent to इज्जत today. And what is happening is कि इज्जत लूटी जा रही है. डेटा को खरीदा जा रहा है, डेटा को बेचा जा रहा है, and which is extremely bad. Okay. See, you use data to give back to the user, to the consumer or your customer, better analytics to, change his behavior is fantastic. If you take that data and actually use it somewhere else, is criminal in my opinion. Okay. And because I really treat, data as my self-respect, that, I don't want anybody to snoop on me. I don't want my data to be publicly traded. I really don't want that. That is me. I don't want. That's why I see even this GDPR rule, which came in, and and Zaggle is one of the few companies who are absolutely GDPR compliant. This data you use for to give better insights and analytics, to the consumer or the customer is fantastic, but to trade is criminal.
Okay, noted your point. So you partly mentioned about your aspiration to become a digital bank as and when the licenses are there. Apart from that, what next for Zaggle, Raj? Are you going to raise more funds? Are you going to venture into new areas apart from what you just mentioned? How do you see the next 2 years for you, or specifically Zaggle?
Sure. So, if you look at it, we have been largely a bootstrapped company, okay, and have, grown from a stage of, like, when we just started to now completely on, little debt and very little funding. And we always believed that, we have to become profitable. This is our fourth year now, to turn profitable, to uh, be in profits. And what we see is that we may raise, definitely we will raise money, either through private equity, or may also look at an opportunity to go for IPO. Okay, depending on how and we are a fintech company who is a profitable fintech company who is into B2B enterprise SaaS fintech space. So for us, how we look at it is that we are going to go out in the market, overseas market. We'll expand there. We'll also looking at acquiring companies who will be EBITDA accretive and will help us to grow faster. Okay, so there is a consolidation phase, which is going to come in, Amol, and that consolidation phase, we want to be the first ones, to actually take benefit of it.
I think that sounds good, but since you mentioned about an IPO, Raj, let me ask you one question here. Are you looking for any time frame? Do you have any time frame in mind or something like that?
Not really, not as of today, we do not have like a specific time frame, to go for IPO. But I think possibly sometime sooner or later we'll take a decision.
Okay, sounds good, Raj. I think meaningful thoughts here, and yeah. So that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. And click on the FinTech Diary tab to view our previous episodes of FinTech Diary. If you like it, please don't forget to share it on social media also. And please ensure you have subscribed to our daily newsletter, which is absolutely free. Thank you so much, Raj, for your inputs and your perspective here on FinTech Diary. And
Thank you so
let's stay
much.
connected.
Thank you so much. Big thank you from Zaggle and my side.